Hello guys, we often talk about the collapsing Russian economy on this channel because that is important for the defeat of Russia in general. Actually, their economy is one of the key factors that traditionally leads to the collapse of the Kremlin's imperial projects. That is what led to the collapse of the USSR in the end of 80s, and that is what happens to the Russian Federation right now. Putin obviously overestimated not just the strength of the Russian army when planning his failed blitzkrieg, but also the strength of the Russian budget. And if in previous videos we needed to discuss some complex topics like interest rates or changing gas and oil prices on the global market, right now this problem for the Russian economy grew so big that the symptoms are very simple and obvious. The Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs, attention, not of finance, not Putin, but the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the one responsible for police, for FSB, plans to ban any bank loans to the population of Russia. And they say that is a way to protect the Russian banking system from scammers. Nobody does that in the world. And actually, that is the reaction to millions of Russians that stopped returning their loans to the banks. That is a huge problem and the demonstration of this tremendous poverty that Russia experiences in times of the big war that returned back to dozens of its Russian regions. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia, the only working peace plan, subscribe and please share these videos if you share my opinion. So, according to the Russian Ministry of Internal Affairs, they have serious problems with scammers, with criminals, and they want to officially ban all the loans from banks. That's insane because a great part of all banks' work is actually giving loans to people. And around the world, scammers, financial affairs are happening, but they do not lead to the Ministry of Internal Affairs banning banks to do the job. And the reason is more obvious, is more simple. According to the Russian banking system, 2.35 million Russians stopped retaining credit card loans. These are the ones that you can get for some simple things like buying a washing machine if your husband did not manage to loot one in Ukraine. These are small loans, and for quite a long period of time, banks are not allowed to give them in cash, and people started taking them with the help of credit cards. But because of this disastrous economic situation inside Russia, they are not able to retain these loans. Also, according to this internal banking information, half of those debtors have more than one loan taken from the Russian bank. I like it. And recent numbers demonstrate that 2.35 million cannot return. But understanding that the situation will only grow worse, banks decided to predict what will happen during the year. And they know that the number of those debtors, of people not prepared to return their credit card loans, will grow to more than 4 million. 4 million Russians. That is a historical maximum in the start of the Russian Federation history. And this reminds me about this death of the monstrous Soviet Union. And actually on my new channel, Anna Danilchuk, I have a new video about my very early childhood Soviet memories. And I personally consider it very interesting because I speak about those beautiful, monstrous details that from a child perspectives still tell you a lot about the death of the Soviet Union. Do check it. And remember to subscribe both here, that's super important, and there, that is same super important. So half of those who have credit card loan have more than one, and they are not prepared to return them. Multiply it by the fact that Russian banks do not give cash credits anymore, and that Ministry of Internal Affairs, literally police and FSB, offer to ban all the loans. And you know how do they plan to give these loans to some people? Only after a serious interview. So literally, to be able to buy, I don't know, a washing machine, you need to come maybe to an FSB office to have a serious conversation, maybe a test, like an exam, and they will allow you to have that loan. That's insane. And that is a sign of the real state of the Russian economy, not the numbers they will give to the International Monetary Fund after some bribes, or not the numbers that, Putin will tell to Trump in the conversation. And this is insane how Donald Trump wants to depict his relations with Putin as a great win for the American economy. Here I need to remind you that Russia is just 5.9% of the US GDP. So how come trade relations with the monstrous country responsible for thousands of war crimes, but at the same time being so poor, can be a success to the American people? What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to help Ukraine win, support our new 5th NEFO campaign, where we support Ukraine's 95th Brigade. They are heroes. 82nd and 33rd Brigade with drones and trucks. This means the world to me. Every hour I check the fundraiser, and I want to thank lots of you who have already donated. Do check the link to support us, because the only way to bring lasting peace to Ukraine, Europe, and the world is to defeat and demilitarize Russia, and that's exactly what these guys do. One of the very interesting facts that is overlooked by the global media is the fact that Putin most likely took a lot of money from the Russian banking system secretly and redirected them into war effort. Because once again, they planned a blitzkrieg. They planned a couple of week-long war. They did not expect they will destroy that many of their own tanks, of their own aircraft, million of their soldiers. This was not planned. This was not planned. Putin's intelligence, Putin's psychological state deceived him. They underestimated Ukraine, same as many countries. And unfortunately, many keep doing that, including the White House. I am proud of my people, and luckily, we don't build predictions and decisions based on those who underestimate us. We keep surprising the world and ourselves with bravery and resilience. But once again, Putin did not plan that this full-scale war will take 3 years and more and counting. And he did not have money for that. So they started taking money from the banks. In Russia, it's super easy because that's a criminal state. Everything is centralized. You do not object. You do not speak about the rules, laws. Don't repeat that mistake in the United States. So he started taking this money from the banks. And I guarantee you, they don't have the majority of the deposits. And it is very likely that when panic occurs, and it will, and millions of people will go to the banks to take their money back, there won't be any. There won't be any. They won't even have time to, print new ones, which is also a trouble for the economy and can lead to the inflation. That is insane. What a toilet paper tiger Russia is, and unfortunately, some still keep describing it as a strong state. I am sorry, Russian Black Sea Fleet is gone. Russian blitzkrieg failed, and now the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Russia wants to ban ordinary, this like buying credits, buying loans to the population of Russia. That is, of course, a sign of strength. That is a very vivid symptom of the collapsing economy. And the collapsing economy is a very vivid symptom that another imperial project of the Kremlin will fail. Subscribe to witness that together, and also follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Discord, and X. I'm fighting there, and that is important. Remember to check my new channel with a new video. I promise you will love it. I loved recording it. Anna Danilchuk, follow me there. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. And check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, and we need that. But most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!